Ladies and gentlemen, extremely happy today because I have just discovered that the Overpowered Instagram channel has overtaken my Instagram channel in terms of number of followers. It's been only a month and we're already there. My YouTube channel now at 3 lakh subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. We need to pass Varun's channel immediately.
I took 7 years, guys, to hit 200 and something.
And who knew the best part of you was being a doomer? That's what people liked, apparently.
Yeah, it's damn sad. Like 3 weeks into Overpowered, we crossed 100K followers on Instagram, and I was like, wow. And then a week later, we were like 200K. None of us realized that it hit 200K. So one day, Tanmay is just like, congrats on hitting 200K, guys. And I opened it and it was 210. So I've never seen growth like this. And yeah, it's sad.
Anyway, so someone was messaging, I think it was Achina was messaging on the group saying, guys, we should go celebrate. And I think me and Sagar both responded saying, it doesn't feel like we've earned it. No, I don't know what, it just doesn't feel like we are earning it. Anyway, we're going to celebrate at 1 million. So hit that subscribe button, follow us on Instagram, and let's start today's episode. What do we have first, Varun? We have something called ControlNet. I kept hearing you use this phrase when we were discussing Alpha CTR. Can you first tell me what is ControlNet? And what does it do? How is it useful?
So see, with Stable Diffusion, you can generate images, right? Assume there are 2 parts to Stable Diffusion now, the popular parts. The first one is you have a model, which is a Stable Diffusion base model. And then you have this UI called Automatic 1111. It's
Automatic 1111.
Yeah, it's a weird name, Automatic 1111. But the idea is it's like a fully packaged tool suite to work with sort of different parts of Stable Diffusion, right? Stable Diffusion has a lot of things in the package now. Not just the core model, but it's got things like upscalers. It's got like a bunch of tools. So it's almost like the Photoshop for
AI images.
Yeah, but all based on Stable Diffusion. Now, ControlNet is one of the extensions. Think of it like that, which also comes with its own model.
Okay.
And ControlNet, it's got multiple types of model, but the one we use on Alpha CTR is something called Canny. Idea is very simple, okay? If I have a reference image, can I make this output image that I have
as close to the reference
as possible? Right? So it can do things like pose matching. It can do things like depth matching. So you can do lots of fun stuff with AI with ControlNet.
Got it. So ControlNet is effectively like a feature with Stable Diffusion. Like it's like
feature for the UI. Yeah, it's like an extension. Yeah, think of it like that.
Like
Stable Diffusion, the core model. And in fact, we'll just show you ControlNet in action. So here's the Automatic 1111 demo. So we have a model for Stable Diffusion called Deliberate V2, right? Okay. It's a nice little model. You can find all these models at Civit AI. You can also use ours if you go to Alpha CTR. And I'm just going to prompt something in, okay? I'm just going to show you Superman with an apple in his hand. Okay? Simple.
As he does.
Okay? We're not going to use anything on ControlNet. I'm just going to show you what the regular output is like. Okay? Clearly, he doesn't have an apple in his hand. But as you can see, the outputs are better than Stable Diffusion's outputs. Like Stable Diffusion Vanilla will give you bad outputs.
He doesn't have an apple in his hand, but his hand looks like an apple.
Yeah, his hand looks like an apple.
Yeah.
But let's do this. Let's go to Google. Let's find a nice reference image.
Okay.
Man eating apple.
Apple. Okay.
So we have, let's say, this. Okay.
Oh.
It's a nice little image of a man.
Oh, so using ControlNet, I can make an image that is like roughly shaped like this.
Yes. So now I can go to ControlNet. I'll just enable ControlNet. And I'm going to drag this man eating apple here. I just have to make sure it's the same size. Same prompt. Okay. Now let's generate. One sec. I'm not using Canny. So let's just use Canny.
What is Canny?
Canny is the ControlNet model.
Okay, got it. Oh, there you go.
Right, but as you can see, it's now slowly generating Superman eating the apple in a very similar form.
Dude, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Got it. So ControlNet is like an extension that can help you tinker around to generate the kind of images that you want.
Yeah. So a lot of people on Reddit, there's actually an entire subreddit for this, where people make sketch art. Like you want to do a comic, let's say. And in the comic, roughly there's a stick figure that's doing this, next pose is doing this, then the guy is doing this. So you can feed all of that into ControlNet and get that person doing those different pose references. Got it. So you can have frame by frame sort of.
Oh, the Midjourney doesn't have something like this, right? Where I can input a reference and ask it to generate something like that.
It'll generate something like that, but it won't copy the pose.
Got it.
So the pose part is really cool. And I can also reduce the weight, right? I can say that, well, I want it to be less like the reference image that I put in. I want it to be more like the prompt. It'll find some nice middle ground.
So for example, in this, it can mimic the pose that we have given as a reference image.
Yeah.
But
and some objects.
and how customizable can we make it? For example, can we say Batman eating an orange?
Yeah.
Or not a Batman, actually make it an animal, no? Because it roughly recognizes that there is a person holding something. So bear eating an orange, okay.
Let's find out.
All right.
Right? So it picks up a lot from this, and if I reduce the control weight,
Yeah.
let's say if I go really low on the control weight, it'll sort of use that as a guide image, but it will take its own creative liberties with the rest of the body.
So now the ratio of man to square has changed.
Yes.
Got it. Hey, can you increase it? Can you increase? What happens if you ask it to
Go all the
like the
way. Let's say
control
if you go all the way.
all the way?
I mean, this is not all the way. One is like somewhere middle ground. You can go 2 also. But
I'll go 2.
as you can see, this will be like a berry man. There'll be
So
some bear vibes, but it's not really a...
But it's giving the weight to the source image a lot more than before.
Exactly.
Got
right.
it.
So on Alpha CTR, we set it at 0.75 for the reference images.
There's a really cool thing that people were doing with ControlNet,
Yeah.
where they were giving a reference pose and they were creating like these really fun videos of their company logos.
Yeah.
Doing that. Can we demo that?
So we have a picture of Doordarshan here. This is the Doordarshan logo.
Skyscrapers in a city.
In a city. Okay. And let's make sure that this weight is 1. So we'll use the line art, ControlNet as a line art model. So we'll use that.
So the reference image that we gave is like line art.
Yeah. So this is a separate ControlNet model. In fact, ControlNet has a model for pose. It's got a model for everything.
Got it. Canny is the one for pose. This is...
Canny is less about pose. It takes a lot of things from the reference image. There's a separate ControlNet model for pose. Canny is a mixture of everything of it.
Got it.
And there's depth. Right. So this is one output.
Say trees on a farm.
Trees on a farm.
Interesting.
Right. So it's almost like it's an aerial view of the thing.
Yeah, but what happens
Let's
if you reduce it a little bit?
Apple pie. Let's reduce it a little bit to 0.8. The minute you reduce this too much, you will start having leak, which is probably something you want.
Interesting. So now you kind of get an apple pie like the Doordarshan logo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So let's go back to 1 here to see what the output is like. By the way, I recommend a lot of people to get automatic 1111 and pick up some nice models from this website called Civit AI. So this is a website called Civit AI where you can pick out any model you want, just like Deliberate V2. There are a bunch of models. There's some for anime. Midjourney is still very good. But if you want something specific done, there are lots of models that you can just pick up, drop into Stable Diffusion and just start playing with. This is like the Photoshop for Stable Diffusion. It's called Automatic 1111. The core model is still here, the V1.5 Stable Diffusion, but it's not as great as everything else. And this has got a lot of tools. Like you can send this to extras and I can upscale it. I can use one of the upscalers that it's got. I can do in-painting. So suppose I have this, I will send it to in-paint. And then maybe, I only want to change this apple. I can draw like generative fill style. I can draw around it and be like...
Select this apple.
Let me show you.
And replace with mango.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me just make this bigger.
I feel like we're censoring the Doordarshan logo.
Is that allowed to do?
I think so.
Yeah, so you got this. And I'm just going to say, hey, please generate mango.
Okay, mango aa gaya. Oh, cute. It's a orange.
Yeah, I tried to get it in the zone that I in-painted.
Let's try the Nike logo. I want to do that creating cool logos. Nike logo black and white.
Okay, so let's take this.
Yeah.
Actually, let's take with the text.
Yeah, let's see what it does with the text.
Okay, so we've taken that. We're just going to drop the Nike logo in. I'm going to say...
Let's be more descriptive this time. Let's say top view of a city with skyscrapers and buildings and trees. And the ideal output would be if it populates. Oh, there you go. Something nice is coming. Fuck me, that's killer.
Yeah.
That's killer.
Model.
Hey, let's do more. Let's do more.
Let's try Superman. Let's just see what happens if you type Superman. This is a human I'm prompting it for. Let's see what happens. Oh, it screwed this up.
Take puddles, top view of puddles on a road. Top view of puddles on a road. Let's see what it makes.
Let me just turn this down a little bit.
Yeah, what happens if we turn it down?
Iceland top view.
Iceland top view. Let's see what this generates.
I think the text part is screwing this up.
Interesting.
Oh,
Just say prints, top view of tire prints in snow. That should be able to generate like
tracks. Let's see.
tracks.
It's not exactly tire prints, but
This
is also, by the way, this is the way to do text effects. This is one way to do text effects with AI as well. A lot of people don't know how to generate text with AI. It's like send a black and white version of that text AI. There's actually another model, Canny model, ControlNet model called.
That's pretty good.
There's a ControlNet model called Depth, and you can generate any text you want. This is pretty decent. And in fact, if you just reduce the control weight even more, you'll have enough bleed for it to be interesting.
T-shirt with floral print. Let's see what it does.
Oh, it's got the Nike logo on a t-shirt. It's an interesting t-shirt style.
Yeah.
Where the Nike logo goes all the way to
All the way. Yeah, that's interesting. So I think everybody who has like a company and a logo, you guys could fuck around with this and see how you can make a vector-based logo.
Yeah.
Put it in ControlNet and find a bunch of generations and put some music behind it, and you can create like a cool
show reel.
like a show reel for your company logo.
Absolutely.
This is a nice one. All right, moving on. For a long time I was wondering, is there a tool that can automate creating shorts out of longer videos? The challenge here was understanding context of the longer video, and then GPT came along. Understanding which parts would be more interesting, and then finally chopping it up and adding subtitles to the video. And there's a cool new tool that we discovered. It's called
Dumme Studio, where the idea is very simple, right? Give it a long form video. It'll find 10, 20 potential shots, clip it into shots, and add subtitles on top. This only works mainly for podcasts or long form videos where the video is already edited, because it's not going to do any editing for you. It's not going to do any overlays. It's not going to make a video more entertaining.
So how it works is fairly straightforward. You dump a link into it, then it spends some time analyzing the video, which means it's understanding the context of the video. And then it chooses a bunch of sections that can be turned into shorts. And then it just produces like a dozen videos for you. It just takes away so much manual labor that someone would have to do.
Yeah. It's very hit or miss. Like some of the shots that it generates are bad, but because it's generating so many shots, you just review it and be like, ye chalega, ye nahi chalega.
Correct.
So I feel it's really great there. But what it's not good at is the video has to already be edited. Like you need to have, like if you're doing the podcast or whatever, it's not going to edit the podcast for you. You have to first edit it, add your overlays. If you're doing a presentation video, you'll have to add the editing, whatnot. And then you can dump into this. What this does great is clips random sections of the videos based on context and then adds the subtitles on top. I think that was a very manual role. Correct. Which is now sort of solved.
Yeah. What it does not do is, say if you have a podcast and it's just me and you talking, and it won't take our clips, add newer clips to it, add overlays, stock images to make the clip more engaging.
No.
That stuff still, and you need an editor to be able to make it, like a dopamine bomb. Yeah.
I feel like this is like a one tool in an editor's arsenal. Like I feel like this is useful, but you still have to convert this into a dopamine bomb.
Yeah. In fact, let's do one thing. What's going to play for the next minute or so is a clip of our podcast, and let's see what it generates.
I'm saying adding design to it, I'm not sure about this, but may make it more interesting for somebody to like point and scan at. Right. So if anything, there'll be a slight conversion rate increase with QR with this thing.
And I'm assuming video QR codes is the next step. Like imagine those Transformers robots. They're on a billboard at Times Square and they're like, you click me, and then they freeze in a frame. Right? Like,
but why would you want to spend on the video board? Why not just make it a static board with a transformer QR code?
Because a video can add more. It can basically add to the CTA, right?
Tome, you use ChatGPT a lot.
Yeah.
And plugins came out.
Yeah.
Right? Have you used any plugins?
I tried. I tried the browser plugin. I tried a bunch of different plugins. I'm personally not a fan. I don't think the PMF for the plugins are here yet.
Even Sam believes that.
I tried Zappier, but it still requires a lot of human intervention to make it work. Like browsing, for example, the browser plugin, it just breaks so often. Like it's not seamless. Like what ChatGPT did was it basically became a sounding board, like a creative assistant that you could use for many things. So on day one, you could feel PMF. But for plugins, there isn't one killer plugin that everybody wants to use all the time. That's not there yet.
I use the Scraper plugin very often. Like there's a plugin called Scraper where, if I have some long website and I just want to summarize it, I just send it to Scraper through Scraper. And sometimes it's like you can also use it with the web browsing plugin, but I feel like very often the web browsing click fails.
Yeah.
But on Scraper, it fails much less often.
But why are you scraping X videos and all?
But let's go through all the popular ChatGPT plugins.
All right.
Right? So Zappier is for sending emails, scheduling meetings, make spreadsheets. What was the issue with Zappier?
For example, like the ideal way I would want to use Zappier is I just always want to have GPT open. All right. And I get on a call. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll do a call tomorrow afternoon at 3. And then I just quickly go in and write call with Varun at 3 p.m. tomorrow, schedule it. I want to hit enter and I want to move on. But you still need to know how to learn how to make zaps, connected at the back end with your, like all that still needs to be done manually. It's a one-time effort.
Yeah.
But in your funnel, 99% of people are going to drop out at that point.
Yeah, because anything that requires effort, now you're connecting multiple things, it's hard.
Yeah.
So the second one is DeployScripts, which creates simple web apps, websites, custom code. I think this is a lot like AutoCode Pro.
Yeah.
Right. So we have a tool to do this, and people just, lots of people have used the tool. Can you guess what the number one type of app requested is?
Porn. No. No. What is the number one type of app?
It is the task manager.
Oh, really?
Maybe because we made a task manager live.
And everyone was like, oh, we want to make a task manager.
Yeah. Either because of that or I don't know, people
you guys
just
aren't able to manage your tasks. Like
the next one is AskYourPDF.
Oh, I've tried this. This is a pretty cool tool. You just drop in a PDF. That's a chatbot. You can just talk to the chatbot. Like it knows everything inside the PDF.
For the technically inclined, the way AskYourPDF or any chat with PDF tool works is there's a technology called vector embeddings where you are now able to feed this data into ChatGPT. The only problem we've had with vector embeddings, because we've tried it on several projects, it hallucinates like crazy. Especially when you put more than one PDF, it'll try to find random correlations between PDF 1 and PDF 2 that just don't exist. The solution to this, and why I feel this is going to get much, much better, is because context window for GPT right now is like 4096. You have a small context window and you're trying to feed this in through vector embeddings, right? Which is a different kind of representation. Think of it as a different representation for text. But tomorrow, ChatGPT itself will have a large context window. Like Anthropic, one of the competitors of GPT, has like a very, very large context window, 100K. And there are lots of papers that have come out saying we'll have 1 million context window, 10 million context window, at which point hallucination is not going to be a problem.
Sorry, what is context window? Can you explain to people?
The number of words you can type into that ChatGPT box without it saying too long a message.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
So an average PDF, let's say it's 50 pages. You need a context window of roughly about 32,000 to fit in 50
to
pages.
paste into that chatbot.
Yeah. So because you can't do that, chat with PDF and all use a hack called vector embeddings, right? Where they use a different representation, but it hallucinates very, very often.
There's actually a great clip of Dharmesh from HubSpot explaining what vector embeddings is on the My First Million podcast. We should probably play it here it's a really good explanation. That's why I'm insisting on we should play it.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about vector embeddings and why that's going to change your world. And before I can talk about vector embeddings, I'm going to explain to you how they work. Because I had to go through this with my 12-year-old because he was curious. All right, so we're going to do a super geeky thing. Now I want you to imagine a line, like you're in a geometry class. And you could put a point on that line that says, oh, that's like 3 units from the origin, right? It's like, oh, yeah, point A is 3 units from the origin, and point B, let's say, is 7 units from the origin. So one thing we know for sure is that we can calculate the distance between those 2 points, right? In that particular case, it's 4. If you move to 2 dimensions, now you have 2 numbers that describe every point. So you can say, oh, point A is here at these dimensions, point B is over here with those dimensions. And we can, physically, you could probably measure with a ruler, but there are mathematical calculations based on those numbers to calculate the distance. That's intuitive, right? You don't need to know fancy geometry. It's like, oh, there's a finite distance in 2-dimensional space where we can calculate the distance. Okay, awesome. Three-dimensional space, exact same thing, just three numbers to describe every possible physical point in three-dimensional space. Now, here's where it starts to get a little more interesting. That just happens to be our experience, so we limit ourselves to 3 dimensions. Imagine in an abstract world, there are 1,000 different dimensions. Okay, so abstractly, that means there's 1,000 numbers that describe any particular point in this 1,000 dimension space. Okay, now file that thought away. That says we can have an arbitrary number of dimensions in this abstract world. Okay, great. Now imagine every paragraph, blog post, anything you write, you can reduce down to a point in this 1,000 dimension space. It's like I'm going to capture the meaning of Sam's last blog post or Sean's last tweet, and I'm going to reduce it down to what's called a vector, which is basically a set of, let's say, 1,000 different numbers that says this thing, if you plotted it, that point falls right here. And then you can plot something else. It's like, oh, that falls over here. And just like in one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional space, you can calculate the distance between those things. And this is not keyword matching. This is what's known as semantic distance. How related is Sean's tweet to Sam's blog post, meaning-wise? Okay, so now if you take that, it's like, okay, well, that means you can take any concept and reduce it down to a vector. That means you can measure the distance between vectors and you can find out how related two things are, even though they use completely different words. That's vector embedding.
So our next tool is VoxScript. You can interact with YouTube videos and summarize them.
Okay.
So let's try. You go to plugins. You go to the plugin store.
You search for VoxScript. VoxScript. Okay, let's use VoxScript. Let's just go to YouTube. Let's pick on something. Let's see if this works. Okay, I'm just going to dump it in.
Summarize. The video title, I survived on 1 cent for a week. You need subtitles. Unfortunately, the creator of the video has disabled subtitles, so I'm unable to provide a detailed summary. Fuck. So this is like I said, right? Like this is not product market fit, right? Like you need to have created this. I tried this with my videos. Now I'm Hindi and English both mixed. It's not able to understand. So it's not fully there yet.
That's damn sad. One plugin I really like is Wolfram. Okay, so let's go to plugins. Let's use the Wolfram plugin. Okay. What is the per capita income of India? Use Wolfram.
What does Wolfram do?
It's like for math, stats. It basically is like a anti-hallucination layer for mathematics and statistics in GPT.
Got it. So it's just like a fine-tuned GPT with lots of data.
It's not exactly fine-tuning. They have, I think they're running their own sort of API that it's calling in the backend to kind of find this
Got
data.
it.
I don't exactly know how it's interfacing with Wolfram in the backend, but Wolfram's very old. In fact, the guy behind Wolfram is also pretty famous. His name is Wolfram.
Oh, his name is Wolfram.
Yeah. So it's got a log scale for you. Nice. So there's also the website result for it. So if I click here, yeah, it's
just scraping. It's just scraping the website.
It's hitting the API of Wolfram, and Wolfram uses natural language or math input, and then it's just giving you a nice little graph of this.
Oh, Wolfram also uses natural language.
Yes, but this is specifically for math, statistics, data, even physics, right? So if you were to write a script and you wanted to be very accurate about numbers, let's say if you're in this would be very useful for a lot of people in infotainment. You want numbers, but you want something accurate.
Got it.
I would rely on Wolfram rather than what ChatGPT gives you.
Yeah, instead of doing GPT browsing, you just use the Wolfram plugin.
Yeah, Wolfram's pretty cool. So eventually somebody's going to make a automated news generator using all of these tools clubbed together. So there's another plugin, by the way, called HeyGen. And let me just show you, okay? So the plugins, and we go to HeyGen. Actually, we'll use Wolfram and we'll use HeyGen. Okay? So I'll be like, use Wolfram. What is the per capita income of Britain? Make a video on this with HeyGen. Let's see if this works. I don't know if this is going to work.
So HeyGen is a automated video making tool.
Yeah, it's those talking head videos where there's a person on screen saying,
like Synthesia.
Yeah, like
I don't like the UI on the plugins either.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like I think half the PMF is them thinking chat works everywhere. Let's play the video.
All right.
The per capita income of Britain, also known as the United Kingdom, is approximately $45,380 per year per person, according to a 2021 estimate. This ranks the United Kingdom 26th in the world.
Wow, she's really happy about that. Dude, I have to say, like the output quality on the face and the lip movement is pretty good.
In 6 months, it's going to be somewhere else. Like you won't be able to tell. And it's just going to be more convenient to have like an AI, creator create rather than you creating yourself.
Great news as a creator myself. I'm very excited about these times. All right.
Create presentation slides with AI in seconds.
This tool lets you create slides using AI. All you got to do is go into your browser and type slides.new
After you install it.
after you've installed it, of course. And you can just create slides using AI. Let's try it out.
So we are just going to extensions. We're in Google Slides, by the way. Slides.new is just a shortcut to do Google Slides /new. Then let's use Slides AI. So you just click on generate slides.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say, I'm creating a presentation.
Harry Potter Book 7 and what life lessons we can learn from it.
And what life lessons we can learn from it. Unfortunately, the tool requires 350 characters. We only have 99. We need more characters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be very, very lazy here. I'm just going to say new chat. Expand this into 350. I'm just really lazy. 351 words.
You got to input the text you need in this box.
Yeah.
And for example, we went to ChatGPT and we said, we want to create a presentation about all the life lessons you can learn from Harry Potter Book 7. ChatGPT spit out a bunch of lessons. And now we've just input that into this. And now let's create it. Let's see what it does.
So the output's here. Let's check out our presentation. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Life Lessons. Exploring the universal lessons from J.K. Rowling's masterpiece. Sacrifice. Characters like Harry, Dobby and Snape make monumental sacrifices. One must put aside personal desires for greater good. Understood? Being selfless is an essential life lesson. And then it's got some
Power
weird
of love
images.
and friendship. And it just found an image on its own, right?
Yeah, but this is a random image about love and friendship.
And then it says resilience and determination, and it's made like this diagram, 1, 2, 3 diagram. Acknowledgement of mortality. And in conclusion, thank you. Feel free to ask any questions. All right, not bad.
This is good for like if you're working in like one of those large consultancies and you need to make 10 slide decks a day.
You want to do quickly, yeah. This is good for that. You just need to dump some text and you're just like,
Anyway,
I'm good to go.
you're creating bullshit for a living, so might as well do it with pretty slides.
यार, अब hate आएगा comment में यार. But this is good if you want to quickly prop up a slide deck and you're too lazy to do it. But it could be visually a lot more interesting. I'm sure there are better tools that like Tome, which create more visually engaging.
Let's actually
slides.
use Tome. Okay, so I'm just going to try Tome. This is the better slide deck tool, and this is why you should watch Overpowered, because we are not married to any of these tools. We'll just find you the best one. Whatever we like.
But I would love to be married to some of these tools if they're willing to pay.
So I'm going to create a new slide deck, and I'm just going to say create a presentation about
Life lessons from Harry Potter books.
life lessons from Harry Potter books.
Harry Potter
7.
7.
Okay.
And then Tome at the back end uses GPT-4 or GPT 3.5 to generate
Yeah.
the text for it as well. So we don't have to manually do it. All right. So it's generated it. And let's look at what it made here.
7 life lessons from the boy who lived. Introduction, the power of love, the power of friendship, consequences of greed, value of sacrifice, conclusion. It even generated nice little images.
Yeah,
It's
that's
probably
pretty
using
cool.
stable diffusion.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it's got power of love, importance of friendship, consequences of greed, value of sacrifice, and conclusion.
Yeah, so the visual presentation here is a lot better, but I like the brevity with which Slides AI condensed condensed it into a presentation? Because here there's just a lot of text, but this does look visually prettier.
I'll tell you one learning I have from building a lot of AI tools. We built like 3 AI tools in the last couple of months, right? One learning I've had is, I think the best AI tools are best in their domains. It's not necessary that they're best at AI. Like the best slide deck tool would understand what do people really want to, like a viewer who views a slide, what does he want to see out of the slide? Like if you understand that brevity is important, brevity means, sandwiching 256 words into just like one bullet point. I feel like you need to have very strong domain knowledge of slides. So if you're building AI in sales, you actually need to be a great salesperson, not a great AI person, right? And those learnings that you have from there will allow you to use AI and prompt in the right direction to give you what you need.
So have like some prompts between the user prompt and what the model sees. Just have some prompts in the middle.
A middle layer. And the middle layer comes from your experience and your domain knowledge. Like if you understand gaming very, very well, you would probably be able to add some prompts to whatever the user is doing, or say, hey, condense it in this many words, or do it like this, or these sort of images, which I think is the secret sauce.
So like in Slides AI, there was probably a middle layer of prompting which says that
Make it short.
Make it short. No sentences over 100 words. Yeah. Something like that.
Highlight, make these parts bold.
What Slides AI also did was it created a presentation where the text was in a different format each time. Like sometimes it was around an image, sometimes it was on top of an image, whereas Tome just created one generic version of it. You can of course change it. They all look the same and it's a lot of text. You can change it, but you're right.
Okay, let's do last one.
Okay.
Do you know people are doing multiple jobs with ChatGPT?
I've heard.
4 jobs with ChatGPT.
I'm not surprised.
Here is the profile of overemployed people using ChatGPT for multiple jobs. One FANG worker is working 2 gigs making 500K, trying to add one more getting to 800K a year. Uses ChatGPT for first pass at code and to respond manager in all lowercase letters to appear more organic. This is what I said, the middle layer where you're prompting it better.
Yeah, tell me something. Like Google and a bunch of these guys will figure out a way to see if some content is AI generated or not. Like Adobe has gone the extreme end where if you generate any image using Firefly, there's literally a watermark on it saying this is AI generated.
Yeah.
Can you tell AI generated code?
Someone said this, I don't know if it's true or not, but like a lot of code on GitHub right now is AI generated. Like 30 or 40%
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like if 40% of GitHub is AI generated code, why would you create internally, why would you not want your engineers to write AI generated code? It's an improvement in productivity. So, and I also think it's hard to tell. There might be some signature but it's trained on human data. So whatever errors that humans anyway make, this is going to make. A lot of people have tried to make ChatGPT output detectors. They've all failed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In the papers, it's just like, it just can't tell. Even OpenAI, I think, tried something and then eventually they gave up because they're like, we can't tell when it's generated with ChatGPT because it turns out a lot of people are mid.
On that very positive note, do hit subscribe. You guys remember our goal. We got to pass Varun Maya's channel in number of subscribers. We're just a couple of 100K away to do hit subscribe. And
also go subscribe to my channel.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. It'll be a beautiful day when we pass Varun 7 years of effort. And check us out on Instagram. We post clips. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, you can check it out. And that's it. Thank you very much. See you next time.